I wanted to name this video, "There is this one giant thing that's in the way of your full spiritual awakening." And then I really looked and realized it's not a thing, it's actually a nothing. So that's why I called it, "There is really nothing in the way of your full spiritual awakening now." I know it sounds very bonkers. It sounds like such an idea, unachievable. It just doesn't sound right. So what do I mean by there is nothing in the way of your full spiritual awakening? By that nothing, I mean expectations. Expectation is not a thing. Expectation is something in the realm of a fantasy world. It's an imagination. It's how things should be. It's an ideal, and it has no substance. You can't eat it. It will never fulfill you. Really, you can't even see it. You just think about it. It's a thought. It's really just nothing. And it's exactly this nothing that's in the way of your full spiritual awakening. When I start working with people, the very first thing, before we even start having calls, we write down all our expectations about spiritual awakening or self-realization, enlightenment, all these ideas. And everybody has very clear ideas and expectations about what it is. We have these ideals from all the stories we've read, all the people that we've seen. We have an idea what would it look like. A lot of times people think that it would leave this permanent change in characteristics, a personality, immediately. That would change and you would become this calm, undisturbed somebody who never makes mistakes, who is perfect, who has just arrived this state of consciousness that is very superior to the one that you are experiencing right now. And really, there is nothing else that is in the way. It's just an idea. And I know everybody has different ideas. Surely it can be this. Surely it can be the way things are. I mean, there must be a different way. I mean, there's just like so many emotions that are supposed to just go away, and so many triggers that are supposed to go away. And maybe they do. But the thing is that they don't need to. The only way why you think that you need to still be working on yourself or improving yourself or achieving or doing hours of meditation or reading self-help books, watching videos, is because you believe there is something missing. And the only reason why you believe there is something missing is because you have an idea about what it possibly could look like from other ideas, from other stories. Awakening is not a special state. It's a simple realization that there is no you living in this deceptive story or a deceptive timeline. And so there is nothing to project. Then you're simply left with what is, with reality, which is completely unexpected and completely unthinkable to the person that we believe that we are. The self-image, the one that we believe that we are, is always an image. You will never find it in reality. And the whole spirituality is based on this idea that you need to be doing something. There is someone, there is someone who needs to do something, either by some practices or just behaving like a good person, looking like a good person. That's the ultimate ego coverage, by the way. That there is something to do in order to achieve something in the future. It is a story. In a story, there's always past and future. There's always something to do. There's always something better and worse. There is always a villain and a good doer. Isn't it suspicious that in all stories that we tell to other people, we are always the good one. And we believe it. A story is something that keeps the self-image alive. And essentially, story and self-image are not separate. They are the same, because a story is what happens to somebody, a self, the separate self that's separate from everybody else and plays the game of better and worse. And so I know it sounds very unthinkable to simply think about it. The person cannot think about it because it's not in the realm of thoughts. The only way is to look, and we just don't know how to look. The looking is a very special, I can't even, it's undescribable. Looking is simply looking. It's like when you look at your fly and it's open, like you can have many ideas about it, but only when you look, you will really notice the truth in reality. And so that's what looking is looking and realizing. But we can't, because we're looking through the story. We're looking through the beliefs, how everything should be, how we should be achieving this non-reactivity, this permanent state of undisturbance. And that's actually in the way of realizing what there is, and really connecting and being in your true nature, which is in that simplicity of what is. Even with emotions, the reason why this is so unthinkable, and a lot of people just would do anything to avoid to look, because it gives them a lot of benefit to be achieving something in the future and hoping for something better in the future. But when you really look at the nature of emotions, there's nothing wrong with emotions. The only thing that causes suffering is that we think that we shouldn't be feeling emotions. Is when we think the way we feel emotion is too much. We overreact it. It's just not an appropriate way. It's just, we should not be feeling that. Or we've done some self-development and spiritual practices for years, and we are still, and we think that we're already there, and then something happens, or we lose something that's very dear. And again, we feel this emotional response, and instead of just being with it, we try to control it, we try to suppress it, we try to give it some positive thoughts, we always try to run away from what is. An animal has no problem with emotions. They go fully into their anger. Or they just don't go fully into whatever is. And that's because there is nobody in control of a dog. It's just something that happens. There is nobody in control of you. It's just something that happens. And I know that sounds like very counterintuitive as well, because we are taught that we are the masters of reality. We are the masters of this universe. If only we control our thoughts. But just look, can you really control your thinking? A thought might say, yeah, I can, And what is that? Who does that belong to? Where is that arising from? If you could really be in control of your thoughts, isn't it true that you could also stop thinking completely? Can you do that? When we really look, it's obvious. This is simply happening spontaneously. There is nobody in control. And nobody needs to. There is nothing missing except in the story. The story, which is the hero's journey, going through life, which has been traumatic in the past. And you need to do so much healing on yourself, and so much practices, and and being a good person and helping others, doing the right thing, never making mistakes. And then eventually, hopefully, you will arrive. Welcome to the story. Once upon a time. Reality and how everything and nothing is. It simply is. And there is nothing to do about it. There's nobody to do anything about it. And it doesn't mean that, as most people again imagine when I say there is nothing to do, doing nothing. They imagine they'll just be home lying and won't even move a finger. I mean, you can try. Soon, a thought will come up telling you, go to the bathroom, or text your friend, or look on Tinder, whatever that is. And you'll be moved. And next thing, you're driving in the car and you're doing things, or you're getting caught up on YouTube, or you're going to work, you're just doing something. Is it really you? Or is it just this spontaneity that happens? And so just consider that perhaps there is nothing in the way of your full spiritual awakening, and that nothing can have many, many forms disguised as fantasies, as better futures, as permanent futures, as gurus and teachers and really, really good ideas, as amazing theories, as promises that are irresistible, assumptions, a whole bunch of nothingness.